Christabel, a legendary former basketball player, sat behind the wheel of her silver SUV, driving along a deserted road at dusk. The sun's light was fading, giving way to a dim, shadowy night that cast an eerie and mysterious atmosphere over the landscape. The road stretched ahead, leading her to a community event where she planned to surprise the neighborhood children with joy. But from the very first moment, Christabel felt something wasn't right. The wind howled through the tall trees lining both sides of the road, creating strange, whisper-like sounds from an unknown source. The air grew unnaturally cold, sending a shiver down her spine, despite the fact that the air conditioning was off. In the distance, the empty road seemed endless, as though it led to nowhere. Christabel gripped the steering wheel tightly, trying to shake off the unease creeping into her chest. She told herself it was all in her imagination, that the meaningful day she had planned was waiting ahead. However, as she drove into a narrow stretch of the road, flashing lights appeared behind her vehicle. Blue and red beams cut through the darkness, illuminating the trees and casting grotesque shadows. In the rearview mirror, Christabel caught a glimpse of a blurry figure, as though the patrol car had materialized from nowhere. Her brow furrowed as a vague sense of anxiety washed over her. Slowly, she decelerated the silver SUV and pulled over to the side of the road, responding to the police signal. But a question lingered in her mind. Why? What did I do wrong? The door of the patrol car behind her opened, and a figure stepped out. It was Officer Ashley, exuding arrogance and wearing a glare as cold as ice. In the dim glow of the car lights, Ashley's face appeared distorted and strange, making Christabel feel as if she was facing something not entirely human. Ashley walked toward the SUV, each step echoing unnaturally as though the ground trembled beneath her feet. Christabel, trying to maintain her composure, rolled down the window and looked directly at the officer. But Ashley's piercing gaze sent chills down her spine. It was not merely the look of a person, but something far deeper and more menacing. The sense of unease she had dismissed earlier now gripped her fully. Christabel knew she was about to face a confrontation unlike any she had encountered before. Ashley approached the SUV, her figure bathed in the intermittent flashes of red and blue, creating ominous shadows across the surroundings. "License and registration," Ashley demanded, her voice deep and echoing with an intensity that made Christabel shiver. But it wasn't just her tone that unsettled Christabel. It was her eyes, filled with disdain, as if Christabel had committed some unthinkable crime. Despite this, Christabel stayed calm. Slowly, she reached into the glove compartment, careful not to show her unease. "Good evening, officer," she said, her voice calm and polite. "May I ask why I've been pulled over?" Ashley smirked, her face twisting into a cold, eerie smile. "Why?" she repeated, narrowing her eyes at Christabel, as though savoring the tension in the air. "Driving a fancy car like this in a neighborhood like this? I think you know the answer." Her tone dripped with mockery, as though she enjoyed causing discomfort. Christabel held Ashley's gaze, her expression steady even though anger simmered beneath the surface. "I don't think that's a valid reason to stop me," Christabel replied, her voice sharp yet respectful. Her calm defiance seemed to irritate Ashley further. The officer leaned in closer, so near that Christabel could feel her icy breath, like a chill carried from a distant, desolate place. "Step out of the car," Ashley ordered, her tone laced with authority and menace. The command left no room for argument, and Christabel understood that resistance at this moment could escalate the situation. Yet she was not one to yield so easily. "Can you tell me why?" Christabel asked, her voice still calm, her gaze unwavering but now filled with determination. Ashley glared at her, and for a fleeting moment, her eyes seemed to darken, exuding an unearthly, ominous aura that heightened the tension in the air. "This isn't the time to argue," Ashley growled, her voice booming like thunder in the silent night. "Step out of the car, now!" The atmosphere around Christabel felt suffocating, the very air seeming to withdraw. With a deep breath, she opened the car door and stepped out, her eyes fixed on Ashley. In that moment, Christabel realized she wasn't just dealing with an officer abusing her authority. There was something far more sinister and dangerous about Ashley. The shadows of the trees appeared to shift and writhe as if alive, enveloping the scene in a sinister embrace. Ashley stood before Christabel, her eyes glowing with a predatory intensity, and her face twisted into a sinister expression. One thought echoed in Christabel's mind. What am I up against? But she knew, no matter what it was, she couldn't back down. This battle, both physical and mental, had only just begun.